Welcome, everyone. Master Builder Show, sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. I am your host, Jim Gibson, president of Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, a registered builder in the state of Texas, a graduate master builder certified by the National Association of Home Builders. I am also a current member of the U.S. Green Building Council, Texas Association of Builders, the National Association of Builders, and the past president of Parker County Builders Association. My guests today are Diane Johnson with the First National Bank of Weatherford and Janis Spooner with the First National Bank of Weatherford Mortgage Company. How are you all this morning?
We're doing great, Jim. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well.
Hey, I'm wonderful. You doing good this morning? Thank you for having us on.
Well, I'm glad to have you. We need to talk about mortgages, that's for sure. There's a scare out there, I guess, or something has happened and I know the mortgages are still available.
Absolutely. That's a hot topic. I'm going to let Janis take that one.
Janis, what do we need to do to start getting a mortgage, I guess?
Well, Jim, mortgage lending, people will and have always needed housing.
Right.
So, there's homes out there for sale, and you do a great job on your build jobs of your homes. Been very impressed with those. Housing is an important part of the American dream, and it gives all people a stake into our society. So there's definitely still great opportunity out there for mortgage lending and homes and buying and selling.
Well, I guess the first thing we need to do, I guess, Diane, it really starts with you with interim financing.
That's correct.
It? So what is the process that people go through? I know we take a print to you, and then you have it appraised. Mm-hmm. And where do we go from there?
Well, actually, from the individual standpoint, Jim, they would fill out an application, which we call it a 1003.
Right.
Once they have that, they've talked to the builder, decided on a builder. Of course, that's going to be you.
Of course.
But once they've decided on a builder, they get their cost breakdown, their specifications, copy of the plans.
Right.
We would order an appraisal at that point. Then typically, all banks are going to be 80% loan to value on a maximum as far as the loan goes. And once that's approved, we'll order title work. Get that ball rolling for these people, because that is just like Janis says, that's just the good old American dream. And
well, does Janet need to do you pre-qualify them first, or does the bank actually pre-qualify them?
We do for the interim construction phase of it. A lot of times, Janis and I work hand in hand with these customers if they do not have their financing lined up, and it just makes it easy if they go through, both of us. It's a streamlined process. We can do it at the same time. Saves those people. Everyone hates those applications. They're 4 pages long, and they can really be, time consuming sometimes.
Well, I know we try to take them down and get them pre-qualified. It makes it a lot easier on me to know what they can finance, I guess.
That's right.
Because they can't go for the moon usually, and a lot of people want. Most everybody wants more than they can afford, I guess, especially in today's market with the prices that we have on housing, because building costs have gone up tremendously from what they were a few years ago. And hopefully the appraisals will reflect that, because I know they take comparables, and some of these comparables are taken on houses that were built 4 or 5 years ago. And you can't do that on new construction.
Well, it's funny that you speak of those appraisals, too. A lot of times it will take... they have to go on historical data, those appraisers do. So a lot of times that cost increase may take 90 days, 120 days to catch up with that historical data for them to be able to use it, the appraisers to be able to utilize that.
I just got a letter from the concrete companies here yesterday that our concrete per yard is going up, I think, $3 a yard in January 1st, and then again $3 a yard in April 1st.
Why is that?
Shortage of concrete. They haven't produced any other concrete plants in several years. Well, and we're running short of it. So they're importing it from Mexico and a bunch of other places, just trying to keep up with demand. So, of course, as demand goes up, prices go up. And their cost for it also has gone up, plus diesel fuel. I bought diesel yesterday, and it's $3.32 a gallon. Well, the truckers are paying the same thing as I'm paying.
That's right.
So everything, loaf of bread goes up, and construction cost goes up tremendously when you're hauling in all the wood and steel, concrete, and everything else. Janis, now, on the mortgage group, what new plans do you have out there to get the qualified buyers in?
Well, we've had some changes over this year in 2007, definitely with the tightening of credit and appraisals as well. But there's still 100% financing. There's creative financing as far as we can do a split loan where we can still do the 100% and break that out into like a 75% second, 25% or 75% first and 25% second. Just gives those buyers who are maybe needing to sell a home the opportunity. You know, if that home is free and clear and they're waiting on that equity to sell, they can go ahead and buy a home, have the split loan set up, and then when they sell their home, they can pay off that second and just be left with a first.
I know a lot of customers of mine, you know, they want to wait until they sell their existing home before they even try to get a new home, and that is not necessary, is what you're telling me.
Not at all times. Now, it depends on their financing of their current home, but absolutely, if it's minimal to, you know, no debt on that current home, absolutely, they can go ahead and buy the new one and keep that one on the market at the same time. And I found a lot of customers want to go ahead and actually do that because they don't want to have to move into a temporary house and then move into the home after it's built. So it just depends on their financial situation.
What kind of credit score do you normally look for when you're going to finance it for them?
Actually, they've tightened up a little bit on that, Jim. Before 2007, just anybody with a pulse almost could get a mortgage. Right. They have tightened up on that. So now they're looking, you know, above 600 is the target. And with layering of risks, such as 100% financing or not a long-term established credit, they're going to want those credit scores up a little bit more, 620, 660, 680, somewhere in that range.
Well, the lower your credit score, the higher interest rate you normally have to pay also.
Absolutely.
Diane, you got anything to inject on that?
You know what Janis is saying, underwriting from the interim construction side has always stayed a little bit tighter. Janis, you know, on the mortgage side of it, they've had a little flexibility there, but they've come up to the same standards now that the banking industry pretty much says. You know, we try and keep the credit score 650 and above.
Right.
If it's, you know, if there are some underlying circumstances on your credit report, it's very, very rare, Jim, and you probably have been told this, to not see some type of medical collection item on a credit report these days.
Right.
I think the medical collection people have just put them on there and then try and collect it later when people find out that it's on their credit.
Well, a lot of the insurance companies aren't paying for a lot of stuff now, so
that's correct.
You know, the client's stuck with a bill, and a lot of these bills are tremendous. You know, doctors, I guess, are more expensive than builders now.
That's true.
Well, a lot of times people don't even have a clue that those are on their credit until they come to get a mortgage, and then they're just, you know, taken aback, not knowing that had been on there. So it's real important to keep up with your credit right now, especially with identity theft that's going on. You know, I check all three bureaus, once in the spring, once in the summer, and once in the fall, to maintain what my credit looks like, to make sure no one else has taken my credit. There are 3 other Janis Spooners in the Metroplex, so it's very important to me. And I see a lot of people who are juniors or seniors or thirds tradition there, and a son, in that case, can definitely mess up the father's credit, and vice versa.
When y'all write a mortgage and all this stuff, can you explain what Fannie Mae is?
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are the governing bodies of the mortgage lending world. They're going to make sure all the rules are set in place and that all of our investors, as well as we, follow those guidelines. What does
Fannie Mae stand for? Do you know right offhand? Or?
No,
It's the Federal National Mortgage Association, commonly known as Fannie Mae, and it's traded on the New York Stock Exchange.
Now, see, I spell it out. I don't do the abbreviations. FANN, I spell it out. So that's funny. Yep.
Right. Well, that's actually what it stands for, and it was established in 1938 by the Congress, and it doesn't have an explicit guarantee or government backing, but it's widely regarded not to fail. Looks like we've got to go to a break here. We'll be back.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Do you know your retirement readiness score or how much money you need to save to retire comfortably? You could pay a financial planner $1,000 or more to find out if you'll be ready for retirement. Or, right now, you can get a personalized analysis of your retirement readiness at yourcircleofwealth.com. The Circle of Wealth Retirement Calculator will give you two very important numbers. First, it calculates the savings you'll need to retire comfortably. Second, it analyzes whether your current financial plan will be successful in reaching your savings goal and delivers your personal retirement readiness score. You can get your personal retirement analysis today and be ready for a great future. As a bonus, you can download a life-changing report with 25 pages of outstanding financial strategies to help reach your retirement goals. You can go to yourcircleofwealth.com, enter the passcode Gibson. Yourcircleofwealth.com, passcode Gibson, GIBSON.
Alamo Appliance, 100 South Riverside Drive in Fort Worth, has been dedicated to serving your needs in kitchen appliances for over 35 years. They offer Genair, KitchenAid, Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, and many others. Their experienced sales staff will help you make the right decisions at the right time. That's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701. Once again, that's Alamo Appliance, 817-531-2701.
Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guests today are Diane Johnson with the First National Bank of Weatherford and Janis Spooner with the First National Bank of Weatherford Mortgage Company. We were talking about financing, and I guess we're going to move in. You had some things you wanted to talk about.
I did. Diane. I wanted to, one of the things, and on the mortgage side, we look at this as well, but debt to income with customers is so important. I look at that as a banker. I look at that. I don't want to get those people in trouble. A good range for their debt to income ratio to be is somewhere between 38-42%. 42 sometimes can, depending on what else they have, can kind of strap them just a little bit. Right. You do not include one of the things that you would include are your fixed obligations. Mm-hmm. If you have, and everyone can do this at home, if you take your gross income and then you take on the expense side, you look at your mortgage, how much your mortgage payments are going to be. You look at how much your car payments, if you have fixed payments on that. You look at your credit card obligations, if they're revolving. A good rule of thumb is to take anywhere between 3 and 5% of the outstanding balance. And that ranges, Jim. I actually take 5% on American Express because a lot of people have it set up where with American Express if they pay it off every month. But just to kind of get a debt to income ratio in there, look at those numbers. Do them at home. Everyone can do these at home and see if that's a comfortable level for them. 38% should be a very, very comfortable level for anyone on a debt to income ratio. If you're taking your gross income, if both of you, if you have spouses include both of that, both of the incomes there. Janis? You know
what, Diane, years ago, I've been in mortgage almost 20 years, and years ago, FHA and VA, we also had to take into consideration child care. They've gotten away from that, and we don't have to do that anymore, but that is a very high cost. Being a mother of 3,
it is. That can run anywhere.
A fortune.
The daycare centers are making a killing today.
It does. But they're trying to get good workers in there too, Jim. And, that can run anywhere from $110 to $160 a week per child.
Oh, even more than that for the younger ones, I think.
Does it?
Yeah, I think I've got a new grandbaby, and I can't remember what they're paying, but they're paying quite a bit, and it was shocking to me because they've got 2, and the oldest one's 2 years old, and still that is a tremendous expense. Do they take in child support now also?
They do. When you have that as an obligation, we do have to count that against them in their ratios. If they have that as income, as long as it continues for at least 3 years, we can consider that as well. But, one thing that Diane hit on was gross income.
Right.
You need to be realistic on, really look at your paycheck. And after, we take gross, but you need to be looking at your finances. This is net, what I'm bringing home. So it's you need to be careful. Certainly, I never want to have a customer come back to me and say, you've strapped me into a mortgage, and I've never had that happen because I care about my customers, and I wouldn't it's not just a transaction to me. They're my friends from day one.
Well, yeah, they have to be.
Absolutely.
You don't want them to move in and have to put up sheets for curtains.
No,
they can't afford to do
No,
anything.
you sure don't. And as lenders, we need to look at that. We need to take on that responsibility. When you look at what we have going today in this mortgage business and the subprime lending problems that we have, I think if they would have tightened up a little bit more on those,
they should have been tighter all along, because I think they were just taking your word on what you made there for a while, weren't they?
This correction needed to have come sooner. The things that it's loosened up, but it's mortgage as well as everything else. It's cyclical. It's up and down. We had the foreclosures in the late '80s and
we
such.
Got the foreclosures now.
They're around. I think honestly, the media has everyone scared.
Right.
Really, I do. The North Texas economy, housing, job growth, it is all still very good, very favorable. When the media gets on the air and talks about all the doom and gloom, the coast, the Michigan, Northeast, Northwest, they're having some issues. But here in Texas, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram published an article earlier this year in March, and there was 2 states in the nation that still had housing growth and appreciation going on their homes, Texas being one of those states. So here in this market, and especially in Parker County, I heard it's an anomaly because here everything's still growing. Housing is still good, but the media's got everybody scared right now.
Well, I noticed it slowed down considerably from what it was last year. Mm-hmm. But still, the mortgages are there, and people with good credit can qualify.
Absolutely.
So, and really, the interest rates aren't that high right now, are they?
Oh, they're still just right at 6. It's wonderful. Long-term rates still look favorable. We've got some things coming in the future. Inflation is always an enemy of mortgage rates. Inflation comes, mortgage rates go up. So, there's things coming in the election next year that typically rates don't go up in an election year. Right. Who wants rates to go up when you're trying to be voting for president,
right.
So there's things, you can read all kinds of bad things, recession, inflation, things that's looming in our future. But still, here in North Texas, things are steady and they're good.
Let's talk about some energy-efficient mortgages. We were talking about that, I guess, on the break. Now, is there a certain level as far as how much you can spend on an energy-efficient mortgage? Does it go all the way up to $1 million? Or?
You and I were talking about FHA's guidelines and programs and allow you to qualify for more and finance those energy-efficient items into the mortgage. So that's definitely a benefit, and you being a builder of such homes is a great thing for you to do.
Well, I know you can afford a bigger mortgage and a bigger payment if your electric bills and all your utility bills are lower. And it looks like we've got to go to another break. We'll be back.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Do you know your retirement readiness score or how much money you need to save to retire comfortably? You could pay a financial planner $1,000 or more to find out if you'll be ready for retirement. Or, right now, you can get a personalized analysis of your retirement readiness at yourcircleofwealth.com. The Circle of Wealth Retirement Calculator will give you 2 very important numbers. First, it calculates the savings you'll need to retire comfortably. Second, it analyzes whether your current financial plan will be successful in reaching your savings goal and delivers your personal retirement readiness score. You can get your personal retirement analysis today and be ready for a great future. As a bonus, you can download a life-changing report with 25 pages of outstanding financial strategies to help reach your retirement goals. You can go to yourcircleofwealth.com, enter the passcode Gibson. yourcircleofwealth.com, passcode Gibson, GIBSON.
The Bank of Weatherford, local folks you know and trust. We are proud of our community and our customers. Whether you need a checking account, personal or business loan, auto loan, interim construction loan, or mortgage loan, we can help. You may visit us at 901 Santa Fe Drive in Weatherford, or you may give us a call at 817-596-9998. You may also visit us on the web at www.thebankofweatherford.com. The Bank of Weatherford, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guests today are Diane Johnson with the First National Bank of Weatherford and Janis with the First National Bank of Weatherford Mortgage Company. We were talking about interest rates and, I guess, the energy-efficient mortgage when we got off the line here. Janis, what do we need to do, or what do you look for when we're going for the energy-efficient mortgages? I mean, you've got to have a third-party inspection.
Yes.
You've got to have their report. And third-party inspection is a HERS report, which is your home energy rating system. Mm-hmm. And generally it's about $200-$400, I guess, to pay an inspector to come out. And, first he's going to have to inspect your print because you're actually going to be building this, most likely, unless you're doing the remodeling project.
Right.
And he's got to give you a cost breakdown on what the energy efficiency stuff is going to cost, I guess.
Yes.
And then you go from there, correct?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We include it with the appraisal so that those dollars can be incorporated in that. But that upfront cost is going to be minimal to what you're going to save.
Correct.
Versus on your energies. I know personally right now I need to replace some windows around my house with this cold front that's moved in. A little chill in the air. But, it's a great thing. It's worth the cost in the long run.
Right now, I think they're setting a 5% limit on it. Mm-hmm. And then they've got I think in your lower priced houses, you've got a $4,000, I guess, or $8,000. I think it's 5% up to $8,000. Mm-hmm. Or $4,000, I guess, is the minimum, correct?
I believe it is.
All right. And that, I guess that'd get you a good insulation package is about all, though. I mean, you can't really go full-blown with that type of money, but you can tremendously help your energy consumption or slow it down, I guess, with that. Diane, you were going to talk about, we were talking about something in the break.
Well, we were talking about rates at the break there. I think, one of the things, and I think Janis mentioned it earlier, the mortgage rates are still just phenomenal. They really are good, and I know we've kind of gotten accustomed to the 5 and 6% over the last couple of years. But one of the things that a lot of consumers are not aware of, when you do an interim construction loan, you are paying interest only on the amounts that are drawn.
Used, right.
Drawn at each funding. Typically, either the customer, the consumer, or the builder will request those draws be made. Those rates are higher on a interim construction loan than they are on mortgages. Mortgages are fixed for a 20, 30-year period in there. Typically, prime plus 1% is going to be where most area banks are going to be, depending on compensating balances that they carry in our bank. That can adjust that number. Their credit scores can adjust that number. Their debt-to-income ratios, if all that looks good and they've got an 840 credit score, absolutely, we're going to look at that, on a more favorable rate than we would. I know a lot of people come in and they expect that 6% on the interim construction. Unfortunately, we can't do that.
Well, it's a short-term loan.
It is. It's short-term.
And normally it's for 1 year.
1 year.
I guess on the larger houses, y'all could go like $1.5 million and million houses, y'all could go up to, what, 3 years possibly, or do y'all go that long?
Well, typically what we try to do, Jim, is hold that to 1 year with interest quarterly. If it's individuals, sometimes we'll not do that interest quarterly because a lot of people would like to roll in their interest into that when they roll it into the mortgage side. Houses that, I mean, I've never worked on one, and I've worked on one for, well, been a lender for 24 years, so never worked on one that took longer than a year to build. You may have built some of those. I know you've built some larger homes.
Well, most of mine take, I guess the longest I've ever taken is about 7 months, and that was due to weather problems.
Was it?
Yeah. And
was that earlier this spring when we had all those rains?
A couple of years ago when we had the rains every day, and that pushes construction back tremendously. I mean, if it's raining, you can't work.
It does.
Especially when you don't have it in the dry. And but Janis, you got anything else on the energy efficient mortgages?
No, there's one program that we do use, the USDA program, where they require a certain amount of insulation in the attic. So, those are for maybe your lower income families that we have that program for.
Right.
But if the house was built prior to, I believe, 1980, you have to go in and add some insulation to make it more energy efficient.
Right. Well, I know my mother's house, we got up there it's been several years back, and they didn't even have any insulation in it. I doubt if they had any in the walls, and we got in there and blew it in. Well, her house was built probably 70 years ago or so, and it was a small house, and it was, I think Dad paid about $8,000 for it when he bought it, and it was on a nice corner lot, and but it really, today's standards, I mean, our standards today are governed by the Texas Residential Construction Commission, so you've got to meet all codes, no matter where you build now, not just in the city. You've got to meet them everywhere in county and all that, and they've got inspectors that now rove around that you can actually, I think it's $1,000 a day fine for code violations, and builders need to understand that, and I think most of your builders out there do if they're involved with any type of the Builders Association or our registrar. I just got a note here yesterday on from the TRCC about online registration that is going to be mandatory for builders that build more than 25 homes a year, and they're not going to take written registrations. And they've changed some laws that all homes are going to be actually registered at the mortgage company or at closing now. Used to, it depending on if you were building a spec house or if they were buying the house, you transferred, I guess, the spec house. You didn't register it when you built it. You registered when you sold it. And now you register all of them when you sell them. And I guess the title companies are going to be the ones that's going to be responsible for making sure that's done. Well, the TRCC is mandating it, but I don't know. I guess who's going to be
record-keeping purposes.
Well, it's got to be registered, and I don't know if it's going to be required by the mortgage company or required by the title companies at closing. And I need to talk with some of my title company, my buddies, I guess, and find out if they're going to require it to close on that house because it needs to be done. Hopefully, somebody will take it to that level anyway. I know there's some houses out there that haven't been registered. And they need to be so that the buyer can come back, and if he's got any warranty issues and stuff like that, he can take them back against the builder or whatever.
We know the government loans, FHA and VA, they're going to require
those
warranties. So I've been on the website there, that trick website, and pulled up, make sure some homes were registered and such. That's not the case yet with conventional.
Well, you have to be a registered builder through the VA to be a VA builder, and they just don't let anybody build, which should be a.
I know TRCC has really cracked down on that, and there are, I guess they're already implemented, Jim. There are still some banks, and I'm not saying here in this area, but I have heard of banks that aren't requiring their builders to be TRCC registered.
Well, every bank that I've ever dealt with, they wanted to see my registration.
Good.
And they can go online. I mean, they don't have to see it. They can go online and pull it up. I tell everybody to go to masterbuildershow.com and click on TRCC or Texas Residential Construction Commission, and you can go in there and type in your builder's name or the builder's company, and it will come up and it will tell you if he's registered or not and in good standing. And that's what everybody needs to do.
I would recommend that as well.
Well, if they're not, they're looking for trouble in the long run, because if they do have a warranty issue or anything like that, it won't be corrected. There's no way to enforce it. And there's a lot of new regulations that came out September 1st of this year in 2008 or 2007 that requires a certain thing on the contracts, and all the new contracts are put out by the Texas Association of Builders, and they worked in conjunction with TRCC and some law firms. And what they did, they wrote up a special contract, or the latest contracts that every builder should be using, and there's certain specifications on that contract that are required by law now. And if you don't have those in your contract, the contract's null and void. And I don't know if y'all are, Janis, are you all using the specific contract when you're signing a mortgage? Well, y'all are using your own, I guess.
Well,
contract.
and I don't actually write the contract. The builder has to. I'm not licensed to do that. The realtor has to.
So you're taking the builder's contract,
mm-hmm.
and then going.
Now we need
there.
to make sure it's the most recent, and,
Right.
and I know that's just changed.
We just got all our updates.
Mm-hmm.
We got them from the Greater Fort Worth Builders Association. I think the copies are like $200, and it comes in a disc, and it gives you all the contracts and all the amendments to the contracts. And everybody that is building right now needs to have those contracts, because, like I said, there's some amendments to it that are required by law, or the contract's null and void, and that's pretty well the way it's stated.
Mm-hmm.
In financing, I know I take everything to you first, Diane.
Mm-hmm. I do. I require that. Of course, we all attend the Parker County Builders Association meetings as well, and I know that's been discussed in there a couple of times.
Right.
I've discussed it with you and with other builders that I work with. I will say, from our standpoint, 99% of the time we do require those contracts, but there are a few that we don't. We probably need to tighten up on that a little bit. When I'm dealing with the mortgage company, they always require that. And Janis, y'all may, I know you were aware of that change too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know exactly when it took place. I knew it was latter part of this year.
Yeah, it took place September 1st of this year. And they've got some new regulations coming up September 1st of 2008, and it's going to require every house to be third-party inspected.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you're going to have your foundation inspected prior to pour, and then you're going to have your electrical system, your HVAC system, your plumbing inspected.
Well, Jim, that's good.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah, and it's going to weed out those that aren't really doing it to code today, and that's what needs to be happening, and should have been happening all along.
Right. Actually, as a lender, it makes me feel a little better too, because we get out there and do inspections, but we're not out there at every stage.
Well, y'all are just looking to see if some work has been done. Y'all really don't get into the code portion of it,
That's
where
right.
every outlet should be so far apart, and it has to have so many outlets, and the ground fault circuit interrupters have to be in close to a wet area.
Right.
And on the exterior, and all you're doing is looking to see if the electrical was done, the HVAC was done, the plumbing was done, and
Windows are in.
Windows in.
Yeah.
And it's got a roof on it or brick on it,
That's
and whatever we
exactly
took the
right.
draw for. And that's like I said, all these laws that are coming about, I think, should have been enforced from day one. And finally, we're getting something in there that they can put their teeth in. And like I said, the fines have gotten fairly hefty, up to $1,000 a day per violation, and up to $100,000 is where they cut it off. But still, a $100,000 fine on somebody could cripple them or put them out of business. I know if you've got several houses going and you've got violations on all of them, then you could very, very well go belly up.
Well, but the builders that are not building the structures that need to be put on the ground to protect these people,
Right.
that put their trust in these builders. It's going to protect these consumers, and those builders don't need to be in business.
Right, they don't. And that's the hardest part we have as builders. I think a bunch of builders got a bad name out there,
Mm-hmm.
and there are a bunch of good builders out there that try to do everything by the book. And
Exactly.
we're following all the codes, and when you go by the book and follow all the codes, of course, it costs you a little bit more to build them, because you're not doing the shortcuts, and you're not leaving out steps and leaving out things that are required by law. And therefore, pretty well the good builders, all their houses range probably in the same price per square foot if they're doing everything right. Now it depends on their level of energy efficiency. Of course, the more energy efficient you build, the more it costs. And right now, there's no standard set by the government as far as a value on that. If I put in a 14-SEER unit or a 19-SEER unit, they don't really care as long as it's got an air conditioning system. So y'all don't really take into y'all take in just what the appraiser appraises, correct?
That is correct.
And so, like I said, you can put in a more efficient unit, but really they don't really care if it's more efficient. All they care is it does have air conditioning, and they don't care if your bill is $150 a month or $20 a month.
We should all care.
We should all care.
I'm going to step out on a limb here, and I'm going to say, First National, starting from here forward, if we have an energy efficient home, we will cut that rate by 0.25%. I think that we need that.
Well, yeah, we do, and everybody should be building green. Or I know the government is really big on it, and everything you see now is coming with green on it. I know Walmart has gone green. They put in skylights too, and don't turn on their lights during the daytime, and all natural light.
I saw a Christmas commercial last night that had green energy.
Yeah, everything. I've been building green ever since 2001, before green was vogue, but. Everybody now has jumped on the bandwagon. Of course, prices have gone up tremendously. I know last year there were some $1,000 electric bills being paid out there, $1,000, $1,200.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about my electric bill.
We built a house back, it's been 3 years ago, and we did, it looks like we're going to have to take a break here. We're coming up.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Do you know your retirement readiness score or how much money you need to save to retire comfortably? You could pay a financial planner $1,000 or more to find out if you'll be ready for retirement. Or, right now, you can get a personalized analysis of your retirement readiness at yourcircleofwealth.com. The Circle of Wealth Retirement Calculator will give you two very important numbers. First, it calculates the savings you'll need to retire comfortably. Second, it analyzes whether your current financial plan will be successful in reaching your savings goal and delivers your personal retirement readiness score. You can get your personal retirement analysis today and be ready for a great future. As a bonus, you can download a life-changing report with 25 pages of outstanding financial strategies to help reach your retirement goals. You can go to yourcircleofwealth.com, enter the passcode Gibson. Yourcircleofwealth.com, passcode Gibson, GIBSON.
Alamo Electrical Contracting Services, 9500 Camp Bowie West, Fort Worth, Texas, 817-249-4964, offering residential and commercial electrical services in Parker, Palo Pinto, Wise, Hood, Johnson, Erath, and Tarrant counties. That's Alamo Electrical Contracting Services, 9500 Camp Bowie West, Fort Worth, Texas, 817-249-4964. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford. My guests today are Diane Johnson with the First National Bank of Weatherford and Janis Spooner with the First National Bank of Weatherford Mortgage Company. And we were talking about, interest rates. And we've been talking about interest rates and loans and mortgages.
It's important to everyone.
It's very important. And nobody can build unless you've got a lot of money stuck back under your mattress or wherever.
And we need all that money documented, so let's go ahead and get it in the bank. First National Bank, that'll work. We'll take it.
Bank, yeah. We were talking about that, and you said you'd cut cut the rates 0.25% for those.
You bet. If we have someone bring us an energy-efficient home that they're ready to build, I will cut that interest rate by 0.25%.
On the interim.
On the interim construction. That's correct.
You're not going to cut it, huh, Janis?
Sorry, my rates are regulated.
We've got a couple of gift certificates to give away for Home Depot today, and our first trivia question is going to be, we talked about it earlier, so if y'all were listening, you should know, what is the going percentage rate, I guess the going interest rate for loans and long-term mortgages today? You can reach us at 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. What is the current interest rate for a, I guess, 30-year fixed mortgage?
30-year fixed.
30-year fixed.
Sometimes it's smart to do an adjustable rate, but right now is not that time.
Well, I know a lot of people have gotten in trouble doing the ARMs, haven't they? I mean,
you have to be very savvy and have a lender that will sit down with you and take that time to explain all that. Right now on adjustable rates, the curve is, or the rate is inverted to the long-term rates right now, and it's just not, unless it's you're looking at it, and that's what I try to do, is look at it as a financial tool. What's best for you, what's going to work, what type of situation you're in.
Okay, it looks like we've got a caller. Welcome to the Master Builder Show. You're live on the air. Do you have an answer?
Yeah, was it 6%?
It is 6%.
Very good.
Very good. You were paying attention.
Well, I want to tell you that I am very impressed. My father was a builder when I was growing up, and he didn't have to know near the amount of information that you're spouting out. So I really have great admiration for you. You're keeping up with things.
Well, I have to. I'm nationally certified, and I'm required to have so many courses every 2 years. I think have to have a minimum of 6 hours, and the things are changing so fast today. If you don't keep up with all these things, then you're left behind, and you don't need to be, especially with them going to be coming out and enforcing a bunch of this stuff. Correct. What is your name, ma'am?
Deborah.
Deborah? Deborah who?
Giddings.
Congratulations, Deborah. Where are you from?
Granbury.
Granbury area. There's a lot going on out that direction.
Yes, there is. There is.
That was Deborah Giddings?
Yes.
All right. Do you know where the station is?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. Okay. Well, if you come by, we've got a $25 gift certificate to Home Depot.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Bye-bye.
Deborah.
Bye-bye. All right. We were talking about interest rates, and excuse me there. I had to hand something to somebody. But anyway, and Diane, you were talking about, I guess, cutting 0.25% on the energy efficient.
That's correct.
Interim loans, and Diane and Janis said that they couldn't do anything with the mortgage loans. But I know the energy efficient mortgages, I guess, they're going to give you more money to build energy efficiently.
Yes, that's right.
And really, people, if you don't do that, you're not being smart, because I've got some houses out there that are 3,000 and 4,000 square foot of living area that are air conditioning heating, and they're paying less than $100 a month for their heating and cooling bill.
Jim, before we went to the break, too, you were talking about one of the homes, and I think that's about the time you and I first met. You had built a home out in the Granbury area.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so impressed with the energy rates that you had, or not the rates, but the prices that you were paying every month on that thing. Because you had it set up kind of as your model, didn't you?
Right. We had it set up as a model, and my highest bill on that particular house, it was 2,600 square feet. And it was in Glenrose, actually.
Glenrose, okay.
And we did everything we could on that thing, and our average bill was about $78 a month. And I had people on each side of that house, and they were paying $600 and $700 a month. And
that's amazing.
Of course, I had to sit on that house for a while, because I did build the most expensive house on the block, which is not a good thing to do when you're building a spec house. But a doctor finally bought that thing, and he is tickled pink. I mean, he's sitting there.
Who wouldn't they to have rates the energy bills every month like that? That's, I don't know if I was away from home all month and just left my normal things going, that mine would be that much or more.
Well, it's well worth the upfront cost if you can afford it, and that's the problem, is getting it financed, and that's the problem we've had. And a lot of these people are putting in upfront money out of their pocket, right, which is a good thing to do, because they can put it in their pocket from the rest of the time they're living there.
That's correct.
And most of this stuff will pay for itself in 3 to 5 years. And I've got a house I built over in Burleson, and it's 4,000 square foot under roof and with a swimming pool. And we put solar heating for the water heater on the pool itself. And their highest bill, she was complaining when we were building the house because she had a girlfriend that was building a house similar to theirs, similar in size, I'll say that. And her girlfriend got a $1,200 bill, I think, in July, and a $1,200 bill in August for their electric bill. And they were rocking right along at $250. Now, this is with a pool. And so she called me and thanked me for letting her spend the extra money, because actually she was saving $1,000 a month. And I can't promise that for everyone. But we went in with foam insulation, with everything that we thought would decrease the bill, monthly bills, and 19-series units, dual speeder, handlers, programmable thermostats, just all the full blown. And they probably did spend $20,000 or $30,000 more than her pocket. But in 3 to 5 years, all that money will come back to them. And then after they recoup that, then it's all into their kids' savings account, basically.
You bring up a good point, and we were talking about this a little earlier. A lot of times, in the construction phase, when someone's getting ready to build, they will actually want better amenities in the home, trim work that's a little more extensive.
Right.
There are, several things. The lighting fixtures upgrade on that, and a lot of times that doesn't count towards that appraisal.
Right. And what they can do, they can leave. What they need to do is just make a choice, and their choice, it should be simple. They should choose the energy efficiency over looks, and they can always add later at a whole lot cheaper than they can actually go in and redo their air conditioning system or they can add insulation in the attic, but they can't really add insulation in the walls easily. They can. There's some ways, but it's hard to do and quite expensive. So they'll do that up front. Really, they could choose a lesser grade countertop.
Right.
Maybe not go granite and have the granite put in later at a later date on the money that they save on their utility bills, and that would be the wise thing to do. But
okay, now you're kind of touching in on the things that we women love.
I know, y'all.
Granite countertops.
Granite countertops and nice stained cabinets. I know we put in a lot of naughty alder and maple. Those are big items, but they're also expensive items. I know when we do floorings, we give them an allowance to do their floors with, and really you can spend say $350, $450 a square foot putting in your flooring, or you can spend $30 or $40 a square foot putting in your flooring. If you'll cut it back, and because you can always replace your flooring, coming back in there at a later date on the money that you've saved on your utility bills again.
Right.
But Janis, got anything else to say?
Oh, I'm just in awe of that electricity bill.
Janis, you sound like you've had one that you didn't care for this summer.
I had 3 that I didn't care for. Neither did my husband. So, but we have the pool and the kids and all those things that, don't like to turn off lights and
right.
leave doors open and whatnot. So, we didn't build our house. I choose you, but we didn't build our house.
I actually live in a log home that we've got a loft upstairs, and it's a 26-foot ceiling. So when you're building it, we're looking at the aesthetic side of it.
Right.
It's beautiful. Jim, you've been at our home. It's a beautiful home. You walk in, and it's just wide open space that all that heat rises to.
We've got to take another break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Did you know that some of the best home builders in the entire nation are right here in Parker County? Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Bearden, president of First National Bank of Weatherford. Our lenders believe your family deserves the best when it comes to your dream home. First National Bank is proud to support the Master Builder Show on QXFM. First National Bank in Weatherford has been building homes in Parker County since 1880. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Do you know your retirement readiness score or how much money you need to save to retire comfortably? You could pay a financial planner $1,000 or more to find out if you'll be ready for retirement. Or, right now, you can get a personalized analysis of your retirement readiness at yourcircleofwealth.com. The Circle of Wealth Retirement Calculator will give you 2 very important numbers. First, it calculates the savings you'll need to retire comfortably. Second, it analyzes whether your current financial plan will be successful in reaching your savings goal and delivers your personal retirement readiness score. You can get your personal retirement analysis today and be ready for a great future. As a bonus, you can download a life-changing report with 25 pages of outstanding financial strategies to help reach your retirement goals. You can go to yourcircleofwealth.com, enter the passcode Gibson. Yourcircleofwealth.com, passcode Gibson, GIBSON.
Henson Lumber, Crescent, Texas, 817-396-4321. www.hensonlumber.com. Henson Lumber, serving our community since 1973. Both lumber and millwork products. The full-time estimator gives customers defined and accurate materials estimates. The millwork department has windows, doors, trim, and hardware. www.hensonlumber.com. Henson Lumber, Crescent, Texas, 817-396-4321.
Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, 2401 Zion Hill Road, Weatherford, Texas, 682-429-2116. We specialize in homes to suit each and every individual that expects special attention. We help design, finance, and close on every home we build. We use green building techniques in all of our homes. You can contact Jim at masterbuildershow.com. Gibson Home Builders Incorporated, Weatherford, 682-429-2116. Welcome back to the Master Builder Show. I am your host, Jim Gibson. Today's show is sponsored by the First National Bank of Weatherford, and I've got a couple of the First National Bank of Weatherford people here with me, Diane Johnson and Janis Spooner. All right, we were talking about, I guess, everything under the sun as far as mortgages and interim financing, and we've got another trivia question. And how much did Diane say she would cut percentage-wise off an interim loan to build an energy-efficient house? You can reach us at 877-341-8950. That's 877-341-8950. And it looks like we've got a caller coming in.
You know someone's going to call in and say 2%.
Yeah.
Where's the wrong buzzer?
Yeah, wrong.
Ace, I hope you're recording this.
All right. It looks like we do have a caller. Welcome to the Master Builder Show. You're live. Do you have an answer?
I believe she said 0.25%.
0.25%?
You are exactly right. Who is this?
This is Deborah.
Deborah, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you as well.
Where are you from?
I'm at Brock.
You're in the Brock area. Boy, that's an exploding area out that direction.
Right.
Deborah, what's your last name?
Bynum, D-Y-N-U-M.
D-Y-N-U-M?
Uh-huh.
All right, Deborah. You know where the radio station is?
Yes, sir.
All right. We got a Home Depot gift certificate to give you.
Well, thank you. Enjoy your program every week.
Well, thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for listening, Deborah. Have a good week.
All right, Janis. You were wanting some time to sum up here. Let's see.
Well, I just, I wanted to reiterate to people here in Parker County and Granbury and all the surrounding counties, it's still a great time to proceed with your housing, with selling, with buying. Now, sellers, and I know, Jim, you're keen on this, you got to have it priced right.
Right.
You can't expect, there are too many homes, you can't expect top dollar and you walk away with a ton of money there. But be smart, be realistic, set that price, and you're so good at that, and everyone that buys your home gets their dollar's worth. I will give you that. But the media hype, again, is just out there and preaching the doom and gloom. It's not as bad here. Like I said, Parker County in this North Texas area is still going really nice, really good. There's still all kinds of mortgages, even with the credit crunch that's going on. Like I said, we can still do the 100% financing as well as FHA, VA, conventional, jumbo. I mean, it's still all there. So it's still, people shouldn't just sit around and wait. They should get going and get selling and get buying and building.
I noticed I've got a sign on one of my pieces of property out here that you put up that's offering some special deals, like me paying 6 months of their house payment.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that. What do you
it's the bonus buyer program, and it's a program that we have that you as the seller can pay up to 6 months, it doesn't have to be 6 months, but up to 6 months of their principal and interest payment. They'll be responsible for their own taxes and insurance, but you'll go ahead and pay that up front at time of closing for them, and that payment will just be automatically deposited into their account each month. That can be a combination of closing costs or payments, just closing costs or payments. But in negotiating the contract, you guys can just work that out. And what a great opportunity to have someone come in and not have, they're going to pay their closing costs if you do that for them. But still, what a great opportunity starting here and forward that, up to next 6 months, they don't have that payment. They can come in and put in those great window treatments and, then come in and put in their granite or whatever they need to. New furniture.
Well, this one already has granite.
So it does.
It's got everything, including the refrigerator. But, Diane, do you have anything as far as closing today?
I really don't. I appreciate you inviting us to come on the show, Jim. I do think you build a wonderful home. I've seen many of your homes, and that is, you serve a purpose here with these energy-efficient homes, especially in Parker County. I got tickled when Janis was talking about out here in this area how it's still growing. I'm going to quote Eric Fox, who's, over national affairs with Lockheed, and he says, you can't go east because Dallas is closed. So the natural... it's been a natural growth out here, too. It is, to Parker County. Our Granbury, or, Palo Pinto, all the surrounding areas out here. Wise County, gosh, look at how it's growing. But if you're smart about it and you look in the areas that you want your family to live, your kids to go to school, better area.
This is a great place. We moved in here, and my wife, you couldn't blow her out of here. She loves Weatherford. And we're not that far out because we can be in downtown Fort Worth in 45 minutes.
That's correct.
We've got all the shopping here. We've got everything here. And if you do need to run in, it's not that far away. And, like I said, Weatherford is just super. I can't say too much about it because it is just, it's all great.
It is great. And Jim, here at the bank with the mortgage department, we can do loans nationwide. So if you have to relocate and leave this wonderful place of Weatherford or Parker County, Johnson Hood, we can take care of that too. So don't go to somewhere, to another state where you don't know anyone. You find someone that can take care of you from here.
Well, I was telling Diane, I guess before the show, we're actually picked up on podcast in 12 different countries right now. And so,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, if anyone out there listening on the podcast needs to have a house built, or I don't know if I will travel that far and build it. Now, if you're in the islands, I might go.
Now, Jim, you've had some world travels yourself.
Yeah, we traveled all over, and I've looked at building all over the world, and I would like to eventually retire on an island. It looks like we've got to wrap up the show for this week. It has been a pleasure having Diane and Janis on here.
Thank you so much.
And we will see you next Tuesday.